Welcome back to the Success Catalyst. My name is Nina Robert and I'm your host today. And we have a truly fascinating guest, Andy, also known as the Empath Guide. Andy is a curious soul on a quest for wisdom and wonder. His journey is as bold as it is enlightening, but don't be fooled by his mystical escapades. Andy is also a meditation champion and a dabbler in the arts of psychology, NLP, and hypnosis. As an apprentice of the Shaolin Way, Andy has crossed paths with countless teachers and shamans, all in the quest not just to save his fellow empaths, but to help them thrive. I'm so excited to dive into this unique journey and insights today. So, welcome to the show, Andy.
Thank you for having me, Nina. Believe me, the pleasure is all mine. I believe we can do great work together. So without further ado, let's start.
All right, let's do it. So, I'll start with the first question. Your spiritual journey is incredibly diverse and intriguing. So, can you share with us how you first became interested in spirituality and what inspired you to pursue it so passionately?
Just look at me. You can know I'm different just by the way I look, the way I think and I feel. And I always was perceived as an odd one because I could see more, hear more, and feel more. But since those lenses that through which I perceive reality are so different to anyone I knew, I came to the only possible solution that I'm crazy. But turns out I wasn't really that crazy. But I started this journey to make me whole again, to find this holy grail that will make me feel good. But since I was starting from a bad place of mind, because actually there wasn't anything wrong with me, because God doesn't make mistakes. You are who you are for you to experience that what you want to experience. And that is why my journey was full of mistakes and full of challenges that I could somehow omit because all flowers bloom in due time. And what I done actually is slow down the process with my ego because I've learned countless modalities. I've studied under different masters. I explored what is called the Western spirituality, which is often a mumbo jumbo. And even the people that teach about it, they don't have absolutely no clue what is this. It's very
Mhm.
dangerous when you
Yes.
go from the perspective of going beyond the senses. But hopefully, karma from previous life kicked in. I had been blessed with a very enlightened master that was a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine. And once you saw him and he saw you, he literally knew everything about you. And just by checking your pulse, he was able to tell crazy stuff about you. You ate a cookie 2 hours ago. You had some
Wow.
coffee with it too. And he asked you those questions. Like he really didn't care about the answer. Those were rhetorical questions just for you to start observing the body. So I started observing my body and
Mhm.
eventually the reality around me.
That's so beautifully said, Andy. And that reminded me of a saying that people who are dancing are considered crazy by people who are not hearing the music or cannot hear the music. I guess you are able to hear the music.
That's true. Because if you really think about what reality is created by our thoughts and emotions.
Mhm.
And we are born here on different missions and different possibilities. You might say that the soul itself has a level, and some of those souls choose to experience themselves through different lenses, let's say survival, then thoughts, emotions, and eventually on one level, it's ready to see the reality for what it truly is. And then the spirit actually grows, and while it grows, it eventually learns that it is a part of the cosmos and it
Mhm.
has cosmos within. So the next stage to transcend even further, because as all journeys if you want to go farther beyond, you need to discard what you collected so far. So that was my journey, to discard the cosmos that I have within. So any attachments that I might have, the way I think, the way I dress, it's not even relevant. I'm talking about stuff of your mind, of your body, and of your soul even. You need to discard your soul if you want to transcend.
Mhm.
And then eventually what happens is, because people have aura, right? Which is the
Yes.
effect of thoughts and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And those aura have colors. And basically those auras cause friction with the reality, because we have an ego and we think, we feel, and it creates that friction.
Yes.
So once you go through all the stages of evolution, you eventually have no aura, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't create friction with reality. You are part of the reality. You are part of God, universal plan, and you are an actor on the big stage and just observing while the reality and the mysteries of the universe unfold to you, and you can take wherever you wish to take, because by sacrificing this destiny in the hands of God, you actually become a puppeteer as well, and you can craft anything that you like.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Andy. And I think that's a great reminder for everyone listening that we have this amazing universal power within us. We are the universe, just as the universe is expressing itself through us. But we end up, for some reason, forgetting this and restricting ourselves to trivial thoughts or just our ego trying to express itself in such a small way where we have the whole universe to express itself within us. So I want to ask you another question, Andy. Your work combines Western psychological techniques with Eastern wisdom. So how do you integrate these different approaches in your practice, and what benefits do you have in blending them?
Let's say you're traveling to a distant, faraway place that you want to visit. Let
Mm-hmm.
it be Bangkok. There are many ways for you to reach Bangkok, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can go by plane, by car, because it is a destination. And that means no way is better than worse.
Mm-hmm.
What matter is the transformation that follows. If you go by plane, obviously that will take short amount of time. If you go by bike, well, it's gonna take you much, much more.
Mm-hmm.
But what you will see during your travels will be something that would even the process out. So all of us are different, not only from biochemical point of view, but we had different parents, different society, and different genes. So all of the methods that I use are for the people that are struggling with particular conditions. And for example, if you are more about using your mind, the so-called energy methods
Mm-hmm.
won't be as beneficial for you. But if you are actually exploring the reality through the means of your spirit, then the means of the mind wouldn't have value to you. So first thing fast, you need to correctly assume who you're talking to by observing him, by going beyond the senses to see who he truly is, so you can see his essence, and then use the tools that would allow him to transcend his limitations that often people glorify because they perceive that it is them, while it's true, while in truth, it is something that limits them.
Well, I think the takeaway for me here is we have to stay open-minded. No matter what we learn, there must be another way, there must be another truth. And limiting ourselves to just one way is just limiting our potential and limiting new ways to experience this beautiful experience that is life. So now, my question is for people who are listening to us who are starting a meditation practice or want to deepen their practice. Do you have any tips for our listeners?
So meditation is a tool, right?
Mhm.
And that tool amplifies the state that you're currently in. and we in our culture perceive it as a holy grail, cure for all, and that's not the case, especially since we only see the tip of the iceberg. We
Mhm,
don't see what's underneath, and we like to start with advanced meditations that we are not absolutely not yet ready.
mhm,
What I would encourage people to stay away from some advanced meditation because it's not gonna do you any good. Because if you would be just going to the gym, you wouldn't start doing one arm handstand push-ups, right?
mhm,
And what happens is with those advanced meditation that you channel the cosmos within is you don't have those channels open. Only
mhm,
few people have those channels open. So you're using energy that you're not able to hand, and that's gonna fry your internal organs, reducing your time lifespan. And that heat will eventually hit you in the head, and that will create serious hallucinations. So
mhm,
instead, I would start with the basic esoteric Tao meditation to open those channels, ensuring that before and after you massage your body, because if you sit in prolonged period of time,
mhm.
the flow of energy, blood, and oxygen will be decreased. So it's very, very beneficial to self-massage your body. Also, the position of the meditation is very important. People like to sit cross-legged, but it's actually not really good for the flow of energy and blood.
Mhm.
And most of the older monks actually have issues with their legs. I know what I'm saying because I've meditated like countless hours. I assume the last time I checked, it was 7,000 hours. I've done countless
Oh
Vipassana
my
camps,
God.
and it always caused your legs to hurt and you couldn't really walk after that.
Mhm,
So I would start with something very simple, opening the channels. I believe meditation like the healing sounds, the inner smile, and the microcosmic orbit from esoteric inner alchemy of Tao would be super beneficial. And eventually you could start with those advanced meditations.
That's wonderful because yeah, I think we take it too far with meditation, especially for beginners. They want to do like the extra hard level of meditation and think they can just sit for hours and transcend between dimensions, and it just takes time to sit and wait for the channels to open. Where it really is some kind of training. I love training myself and I love meditation. So I can totally understand the importance of warming up, being in a good position, and then really taking care of your body and listening to your body. And start with simple exercises. And once you can master them, you can sharpen your muscles more and you can strengthen yourself more. And I think the same thing goes with the mental muscle or the spirit muscle, that is our channels, our chakras, our energy level, everything that combines into this meditation experience. So I know that you also are an apprentice in the Shaolin way, which is known for its rigorous discipline. So what have you learned from this experience and how has it shaped your approach to both life and spirituality?
You cannot really talk that Western has a spirituality. It's honestly a very, it's not even a novice because they see something and they try to implement it without understanding how it works.
Mhm,
The point of view of Shaolin monastery on life, on fitness, on meditation is completely different. Like they don't teach you how to meditate before they teach you Kung Fu, which they highly emphasize because it opens the energy pathway in the body.
mhm,
So I think it was like fifth or sixth month that I actually started meditating according to the Shaolin way. And then was heavy, heavy training with Kung Fu. And it's very different from how we train because, we have sets, we have reps, and we have cheat days and all of that. In a Shaolin, you don't really have that. You should train several times a day. You should do a lot of work. And if you always think you're always thinking it's gonna overstimulate your left part of the brain, and actually those movements will become a burden on you that will deplete you from energy And due to that, those fitness that we have is when you look at someone that does fitness for a prolonged period of time, first of all, it's a coping mechanism. And second of all, they look really, really old because it depletes their energy. But somehow we think it's healthy. I think we as a culture, society, have it completely wrong. There is a saying that barbarian society thinks a progress is taking a step back. And I think this is the way we do things because we are so immersed in the progress of technology that we forgot to be real and authentic because we are hiding behind the layers of the ego due to which we are not able to grasp the miracles of the beauty of the universe.
As an empath guide, you help empaths not just survive, but thrive. As an empath myself, I want to know what are some common challenges that empaths face and how do you assist them in overcoming these obstacles?
So, first of all, the most common challenge that we face is sponging negative emotion.
Mhm.
And you cannot really solve that before you go to the root cause of the issue. Well, actually, you can, and there are many ways you could solve it. But it's always good to see what is the cause of the issue. And for empaths, it's usually either two things. It's a pent-up energy in type of fear or anger, or just purely not wanting to be in that social setting.
Mm.
So let's say they are interacting with other people, but their thoughts are elsewhere, their mind is elsewhere, their emotion is elsewhere, their soul is elsewhere. It's not in the body. So it's very easy for other energies
Mm.
to get in your body. And that is basically what happens when you interact with other people. You stand there, don't want to be there, and out of sudden you just freeze because you didn't have the courage to say what you wanted to say. So you freeze, your belly sinks, you stop breathing, and you kind of look stupid.
Mhm.
And then, oh my God, I would do anything just to end that interaction and even sponging the negative emotion,
Oh,
which
yes.
then obviously happens.
Mhm.
So that is obviously one big issue that creates another issues because it's first of all, after that situation happens, you're like, oh my God, what happened? I didn't want to do that. I wanted to say something else,
Mm.
do something else. I'm gonna plan ahead, be
Yeah.
prepared. Next time it happens, I'm gonna act totally different. Guess what? Same situation happened, and you do exactly the same. You freeze, you stop breathing, and you look stupid, and you sponge negative emotion, which eventually leads to this vicious cycle of decreasing
Mhm.
respect to oneself, self-worth, and it gets worse and worse and worse to the point that you're actually afraid of interacting with other people, or you might be even afraid to do basic things like going shopping or going to the mall, which is very frequent.
Mhm.
So what you can do to cope with that is, first of all, be really rooted. And I'm not talking about grounding meditation because they never do work. I mean, having your feet rooted to the ground will
Mhm.
help you a lot, not only for that particular issue, but it will also engage, also extend your life because it will stimulate your internal organs because the food has tons of nerve endings that will massage your organs. So it's a great thing. You could also obviously work with hacks or shadow work to let go of those pent up energies.
Mhm.
Even the way of Qigong or Tai Chi or Kung Fu would be highly beneficial. But we live in a day and age that people want everything handed to you within days. They want change right here, right now. So I developed a method which, if you are familiar with NLP, might be
Mhm.
something similar, but it is not NLP. It is something that I would label as psychic gift that anyone can learn. And it is, you need to reach very deep level of the mind. at least an alpha level, which makes your brain, that is basically a computer, run on different slower frequency, so
Mhm.
you can analyze data better and make better decision. In that state, you can speak directly to your subconsciousness, and that state is also the first stage of using your psychic gifts, which to a degree everyone has, and to a degree anyone can learn. And in that particular state, you program a pattern, kind of like an anchor from NLP. And for me, it's those two fingers that I just touch like that,
Mhm.
and that triggers this reaction that I'm basically immune to negative emotions, negative suggestions, negative thoughts, negative energies and frequencies. And to top it off, I always know what to do. And I always know what to do, which is amazing. So this is like something that resolves most of the empaths issue, because then you won't be overwhelmed. You wouldn't have those needs to stay in bed just doing nothing, recharging your batteries.
Mhm.
So then again, you can go back to life and thrive. So it's very simple, it's very easy, and it works absolutely crazy. And then there's actually time to do the deeper work, to let go of those pent up energies, to see why were you ungrounded, so you can take it to the next level.
Wow, these are some very good golden nuggets that you shared with us. So thank you so much, Andy. Now, this podcast is called The Success Catalyst. So I love success stories. So can you share a story of personal growth or transformation, either your own or a client's, that stands out to you and illustrates the power of your methods?
Well, I'm at this stage that you remember that story that you said at the beginning about dancing, that those that do not
Yes.
hear the music think
Uh-huh.
the one that hears the music is crazy. I
Yes.
thought about it, I think 2 days, and it usually happens for me when I think about something, it manifests within a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something bigger, it usually takes a month, and it's very, very detailed. Like, I moved to Thailand recently, and I had a vision that I will wake up, run, go to temple, meditate, and go back to work. And right now I can see the temple from the window, which I was meditating today. And I can work downstairs in the lobby, which I like a lot. And it's also something that I saw. So by discarding all those layers of my subconsciousness, I was able to reach a level of being so in alignment with the universe, that
Mm-hmm.
the universe is not only using me as its vessel to speak the truth, but by allowing him to do that, he gives me gifts of those magnificent ideas and blessings that I wanted to have and now I have. So yeah, life is amazing.
It is indeed. And I think you're having like so many examples, I think, in your day-to-day life, the way you're manifesting everything so easily and so effortlessly. So congratulations on that. I've noticed that sometimes I do manifest many things, but I only pay attention to the things that I want, like consciously
Mm.
decided that I'm going to manifest that. But eventually, I think we're manifesting things all the time, whether we want them or not. The more we are emotionally involved with them, the more we think and we feel them, or we assume that they are true, the easier they're coming to us. So I guess one advice that I would give the listeners, and I don't know if you agree with me, is that to pay attention to what we want and what we think we want, and to pay attention to our thoughts, because we are manifesting machines, manifesting all the time. What do you think?
Well, I believe that sooner or later, all of your thoughts will manifest itself. So you obviously need to be very cautious what you think. And the more present you are, the more aware you are, the
Hmm.
more energy you have to make your manifestation, the more you discard those layers of your ego, the more power your manifestation have.
Hmm.
The the less you fight with yourself, like just accept who you are because you can only be you, everyone else is already taken. Then what actually happens, you come into alignment with the universe and you come into alignment with God. And then you can use God power or universe or nature or Teo, however you call it. You can use all of that energy to manifest. If you would be creating separation between you and the universe, you can only use your own power to manifest, and that has limitation because first of all, obviously you need to sacrifice something because your life right now is a result of your thoughts and feelings. So
Mhm.
if you want something new, you would have to sacrifice something from your life because you need to have that energy from somewhere. And
Mhm.
if you're gonna use your own energy, it means something from your life will just crumble. And it's obviously a good thing because something new will await you.
You know, there's a universal law that I love that's called the vacuum law of prosperity. And that means exactly what you were saying, talking about, that is to make space for what you want to manifest by sacrificing something. That something could be time, could be effort, could be money, could be just making physical space in your house, for example, if you want to, I don't know, have a piano or have a big thing. You have to make space for it. You can't just manifest it, and once it's there, there's no place for it to sit. So I love this universal law, and I want to remind myself and everyone listening that it is a very powerful law that we need to make space for the things that we want. And we need to be aware of what kind of space we need and what kind of space are we willing to sacrifice in our life. So you've shared so much wisdom so far with us, Andy, and I'm truly grateful for you. Is there any final message that you would like to leave with our listeners today?
All flowers bloom in due time. The flower doesn't think when to bloom. When it's ready and it blooms.
Mhm.
You might say that you either live or you think about living.
Mm.
Like this dancer in this huge hall, and she would be dancing greatly and inspiring other people. But once she will second guess her choices, she will eventually crumble. So you can think about dancing or you can dance. You need to realize that what we have between our ears is a tool, and tool should be used. But if you allow that tool to use you, you are in deep, deep trouble because the mind will suck all of your energy and you would be lost like a kid in the fog using matches to see what's ahead and thinking that it is truth, but actually it is something that the mind, what is using you, wants you to see. Like so you have this precognition, my mind is working right, while you only have glimpses of few meters what's ahead and you're surrounded in darkness. So y- live your life, relax. Everything is perfect between heaven and earth as it should be. And take a deep, deep breath.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Andy. It was really a pleasure having you today in the Success Catalyst podcast. I'll make sure to include all your links in the description of the episode so people can reach you, contact you, and work with you. I'll thank you again one more time, Andy, and I thank all the listeners. We'll see you again in the next episode.